Hi guys, Jason here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. Today we're doing a comparison test between G430 and i525. Now the newest one out of these two is G430. i525 was released a little bit beforehand, but this was a really good test between the G425, the predecessor to the G430, against the i525, because in many fittings that I undertook, it became quite apparent quite quickly just how good the i525 was against the now old G425. So it'll be interesting to see if, with G430 being a small improvement over the old one, if there is now a stepped difference between the two. And I've got the AFS heads, reason why, because I can keep the shaft exactly the same, which is going to be the Project X 6.0. And then what we're going to do, we're going to give this one a hit and then flick over and give that one a hit, and then I'm going to do the same old things I always do. I'm going to be whacking these all over the face and test forgiveness of different parts, see what ball speed drop-offs we get, see what efficiency or smash factor, depending on what launch monitor you're used to using, what kind of drop-offs we get from different heads. Because remember, G430, it's their maximum help one now. They do not do the G700 range, which was the massive head on the end of a stick. They've dropped that now for the G430. Why? Because the G430 now is as good as that anyway, so there's no point doing a G700 head, because this beats it anyway. Right, so when it comes to in-depth reviews, I've done one of these on my channel already. You can have a little look after this one, obviously. Watch this first and then go have a look. If you want in-depth information when it comes to what's inside this tech-wise, top lines is, I would say, medium. They look thinner than they actually are because of the way that the actual top line is chamfered and angled, and the insole is medium to thick. And obviously when we're talking about everything else, well, it's the G range, it's the biggest one of the lot, but it's not massive. Offset is under control. You have got that lovely little Porflex thing at the back, which that carbon insert, which does press. But this is going to be the uber forgiving one, the maximum high handicapper, I hit it all over the face, that kind of idea. Let's go see how it feels. Fine. It's loud. It is very loud. Now, for the people that care about acoustics, the feel, the sound of something, this one has a bit of a crack to it. It is a distinct noise. You do hear it. Now, of course, we have got bits and pieces in here to try and quieten the old girl down, but because of the design of the head being a very thin face, it will suffer from a little bit of the old acoustic pop. I've got it at Beaver Hills Country Club. It's hole 4, 176 yards. First shot, slightly out to the right, that's because of my delivery, but it's just doing a really good job of being a G430. I mean, it's predictable. That's slightly more toey, but it's a very similar shot as the one beforehand. So when it comes to the difference between this one and the G425, this one is marginally better in many slightly different areas. It is not a huge jump over the old G425. It is just a minor in many different areas to make a pleasant difference. So what was that, 80 miles an hour, 7 mil toe, 2 mil low, so decent strike, but 36 yards in the air, and again 49 degrees descent angle at 176. It is doing its job of going nice and high, stopping nice and steep. I mean, that's well over what I would need a golf ball to stop. I mean, these greens, I've set these up to be fairly quick, so they need a little bit of descent angle, shall we say, to stop them, and that's doing it absolutely fine. But again, it is a little bit more audible than I would personally like, but then again, I play different golf clubs which don't make the same audible noise as these. That's subjective, and it really makes no difference, only if you care. Slightly bit more of a push this time. That's me with the face open. I can feel that one. I'm still going to hit the green because I've set this up. I'm not wanting to miss left on this green. I've made a mistake in a previous video of basically aiming at the pin, and then of course if you just tug even slightly, you're going to be in that very nasty stuff. And if this was a hole, I would not be aiming at this pin. I'm aiming at the middle of the green, and then it's doing what it's doing. A little baby fade, and it's just going to go slightly to the right. A little baby draw, and it's going towards the pin. But it feels nice. One last one before we go over to the i525, because I mean, this is doing everything that the G430 is supposed to do. It'd be interesting putting it up against the i525. Because that was a really good comparison. There was a lot of times when it comes to fitting with the old G425 against i525 where I actually had to say to the person that I go for the i525. I mean, one of these golf clubs, generally speaking, you're going to be looking at someone who's going to be needing maximum help, maximum this and maximum that. And then as a generalization, of course, there's always individual exceptions to the rule. But what you'll find is that as people get better in the handicap, they'll want to come away from something like this, which is much more visibly tech inspired, against something like an i525, which is a little bit more sleeker and a little bit more traditional in looks. So right, last one, and then we'll go over to the i525 to see how it compares. So adjustment made from the last one when it comes to slightly open face. May have fractionally overdone it because I was worrying a little bit it was going to go too far left. Yeah, slightly over closed face this time, and a fraction worse strike, but not too bad whatsoever. I mean, it's going 35 yards in the air, 48 degrees ascent angle for not the most ideal hit. That was half an inch basically off of middle, and it's still basically doing exactly what a G430 is supposed to do. Right, let's go change over heads. Let's go get the tool, take the head off of this one, keep the same shaft, Project X 6.0, put the i525 in, and let's go see how that one gets on. So back now with i525, flicked over the heads to keep the shaft exactly the same. And so when it comes to the differences in loft between these, now there is about 1.5 degrees, I think it is, in loft between these as a general rule. Again, you can retro spec and also power spec both of these should you wish, so you can move them to around. Now when it comes to the testing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try see if I can match the lofts as best as I can doing delivery. Looks difference between these two, again when it comes to technology, there's a lot of technology difference. Again, if you want to go have a look at that one up there, that's a full review for this one, and yeah, you can do that one at your heart's content. But this one is a visually different, like massively visually different between this and the G430. It's gone as the undercut cavity when it comes to a G430, and it's a fully forged looking head. Now this is partially forged, it's not fully forged. Thinner top line visually, but again this is a more of a rounded top line where the G430 is a bit more of an angled one. Sole thickness is thinner, yes it is. Blade size is smaller, offset is smaller. Everything says smaller, but the good things about Ping I like is the white line-up lines with the G430 and this one as well. It's just a nicer thing to look at. Right, let's go give this a hit and see how this feels, because I have changed data sets and you will get a different colour line. Well, that's a toey hit to start with. Well done, Jay, for the toe. As you can see though, made no difference when it comes to its performance. That done very well. Look at that. So delivery was not bad whatsoever. Face was fractionally open, but look, 12mm toe. Yeah, that's a miss hit. 36 yards in the air and 49 degrees ascent angle. This is why this thing done so well and continues to do so well. I was really, well, I was looking forward massively to doing this kind of compare between these two, just because of how good the i525 is, and definitely was against the old G425, to a point of where this is going to be nearly, well, it is as forgiving as an old G425, but this is going to keep longer, as in a case of, as the golfer tries to transition from something like a G to an I, people understand sometimes that you're going to lose a little bit of forgiveness and lose a little bit of help when you're looking for a more of a compact, nicer feeling, that kind of idea. But again, when it comes to a G425 against this is just as good. Now, I reckon there's going to be small differences between the G430 and this one, but do you know what? I won't say there's going to be huge in it. I mean, that's 12mm toe, and that's doing mighty well. And the feel is, yeah, you can feel it's softer feel, or sounds quieter for the people that care when it comes to acoustics. That's left, that's me. Get down, get down, get down, get down, that's no, oh, I don't know, that's gonna be, oh, just. That's me worrying again. Slightly overclosed, it wanted to move. I haven't got much room, and I've done, when I changed the data sets, like an idiot, I didn't aim for the middle of the green. I have aimed for the pin. So I've now just made that connection, and now I'm worrying on the left-hand side. It's fine, doesn't matter. But yeah, the sound this thing makes is distinctly quieter, it's distinctly nicer. I would definitely personally game an i525 over G430 just because I like the looks better. It's much more of a sleeker, more better players look to it. But again, it's just looks and feel. That's subjective. What we're really talking about, what performance difference is there? I mean, it is just good. That's slightly toey again, but I mean, you could not complain. Slightly too fast, so I'm going a little bit quicker. Look at that green onto the fringe. Delivery's good, 0.2, 0.2, very, very 0-0. 7mm toe, 3mm low, so yeah, slightly toe, but decent strike. 36 yards in the air, 49 degrees ascent angle. It's going to be very, very close. Now, when it comes to the G430, I will say that I've done the review. When it comes to that, I did do that one at 2 different speeds because of, again, G430, generally speaking, is for people with a slightly slower swing speed. But yeah, I prefer i525 all day long. Oh, that's a miss. That is a miss. That's my fault. I mean, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. 2 degrees open face. Slightly low on the face as well, 6mm low, 3mm toe, but a decent strike really. It's just a case of I had a face which was open. And of course, then you have that shot which starts right, goes right a little bit, but it's absolutely fine. Is it losing distance? Yes, of course it will do. But it's hitting green, hitting target, hasn't lost that much. Efficiency's not bad considering. I'd take that one. Should I hit one more? Let's hit one more because I do, yeah, I prefer i525 to G430, absolutely. Oh, that's out the bottom to finish. And missed the green to finish. There you go. There's me reacting to the previous one with a 2 open face to a 2 closed face. I just saw it in quad. So strike wasn't too bad. It was just slightly low and slightly toe. But the over closed face reacting to the previous one of the 2 degrees open. Anyway, when it comes to the difference between these, sound-wise, definitely I prefer i525. When it comes to looks, I prefer the i525. But let's go hit this loads and loads of times. Let's get us off this and go straight onto the range. Whack, 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 all over the face, high toe, heel low with both irons. And let's go see, actually, what's the difference in performance between these two, like for like, and then also if one is more forgiving than the other. Loads of shots now hit with G430 and i525 to see which one's better, which one goes higher, which one stops better, which one's more forgiving, that kind of idea. So let's go straight into it with the ball data for G430 first. Ball speed on average 120.1 miles an hour, launching at 18.5 degrees, spinning at 5,464 RPM, so 5,500 spin, carrying at 174 yards, peaking at 34 yards and descending at 48 degrees, 47.8. It's absolutely fine when it comes to a 7-iron carrying 174 yards. Yeah, that's stopping on any green. If we go over to the i525, see what the differences are between that and the G430. Ball speed 119 dead rather than 120.1, so 1.1 miles an hour difference. Not much, but there you go. Launching exactly the same, 18.5 degrees. Spinning slightly less, 5234, so against 5464. Yeah, it's 230 RPM. Not much whatsoever. And if you look at the spin deviations anyway, they more than blur. So they're very, very similar anyway. It's going the same carry, 174, but peaking height 1 yard less at 33 yards. And of course, descending then at 47.3 rather than 47.8, but it is small. It is relatively small. Now this has got a decent sized data set. It's quite a lot of shots in there, and they've also got some mishits in there as well, but they're equal mishits as best I can do, and I'll show you them in a little while. But let's go look at the clubhead data to see, make sure I'm not cheating when it comes to any differences. You've got a G430 clubhead speed of 87.9 miles an hour, efficiency is good at 1.37, attack angle 3.3 down, club path and face to path is very, very 0, 0.5, 0.1, very small. Loft is is 24.4 degrees and 4 mil toe, 1 mil low, 5 mil gross off of middle, and I have got standard deviation, so the measure of variance. When it's one golf club you're reviewing, it's not too much of a problem when it comes to it, because obviously you put in different shots in there. When it comes to comparing two different golf clubs, you need to try and keep your standard deviation as close to equal. If not, it's not fair when it comes to a like-for-like test. i525 next, 87.7 miles an hour rather than 87.9, so I'm 0.2 of a mile an hour short on clubhead speed. Efficiency is 1.36 rather than 1.37, so we've lost 0.01 of an efficiency. Tack angle is 3.4 down rather than 3.3. Very, very close. Club path is 1 from the inside and 0 face, so it's just 1 degree difference really, when even 0.7 degree difference in path. Nothing really. And then 24.4 degrees of loft. I managed to, within the 10th of a degree, I managed to match the lofts when it comes to making this as best I can do as like for like, apples to apples testing. Now strike on average was 0 mil heel, so 0 in the face but 3 mil low. But if you look at my standard deviation, I have got a very, very slight difference in 1 millimeter worse vertically when it comes to i525. So a 6 mil and 3 mil and 6 mil and 4 mil. It is very, very close as I can get without being a robot. So if we look at the ball compare screens, you can visibly see the flight differences. Yes, you can see the i525 just doesn't quite go as high as G430, even though the yardages of carry exactly the same. Well, there will be, because within reason I've got the same amount of dynamic loft, swinging very, very similar. Now I did strike the G430 slightly worse than i525, but that'll be you can see that when it comes to the bottom screen. You can see the G430 was a little bit off when it comes to strike, and yet it's still getting a slight increase in efficiency over the i525 on average, and you can see how close all the numbers really are. Right, let's go to the misses. Let's go see to the forgiveness side of things and see which one wins. So let's start on the heel. The G430, 87.1 miles an hour at clubhead speed, 1.32 efficiency. That's my face and path, which is 0, 0. 0 mil low, 17 heel. And yes, 17 heel with any golf club is not going to be very good, but it does really well. 1.32 efficiency from 17 heel. The G430 is doing exceptionally well. Go across to the i525, 0.2 of a mile an hour difference in clubhead speed. Within reason, face and path are very, very similar. There's literally half a degree in it. 14 mil heel, 2 mil high, so I'm a few millimeters short of when it comes to the extreme that I did with the G430, and 1.33. So because of the fact that it's so small, I would say it's very, very close to being identical between them. But because of this 17 heel, that is really close to being a shank. And I would say that if I had to pick, I'd say they're equal. They're so close on heel strikes, they are nearly equal. They're both doing an equally very good job. Right, let's go low strikes now. G430, 87.2 miles an hour, 0.6 mil inside, 1.2 open, so fractionally open face. 13 mil low, 1 mil heel, but 13 mil low. At an efficiency of 1.3. So we are dropping efficiency distinctly, but that is half an inch low on the face. That is a lot. If you go straight over to an i525, 87.9 miles an hour, 1 degree close rather than 1 degree open, so that will change it slightly. And the strike isn't quite as bad, 12 mil low against 13. And so on this one, I would say, even though the efficiency is 1.01 higher on an i525, I would actually give it marginally to a G430, although it's marginal and within reason, guys. You could probably say they're equal when it comes to it. But if I had to pick a winner, I'd possibly say G430 for the extreme low, thin strikes. Let's go to the wonderful side of the toe. G430, 86.9 miles an hour, face 1 degree open, 1 mil high, 15 toe, and that is efficiency of 1.36. This is where they really do well, modern day golf clubs, off the toe strikes. That is not far off its normal efficiency from 15 mil toe. If you go over to the i525, rather than the face being 1 degree open, it is now 0.3 close, so that will assist in the keeping up of efficiency. And as you can see, efficiency is the same at 1.36, and it is 2 mil worse at 17 mil. So, okay, 1 mil high, 15 toe, 16 mil gross, and 0 mil high, 7 toe. We're 1 mil in it. I would actually give this to G430 just because of the fact that the face was closed slightly on an i525 and the face slightly open, which always, when you have an open face, it always adds a little bit of deflection, which will reduce your efficiency. But it's, again, it's very, very close. I captured some interesting ones right at the very end, some extreme toes. G430 first, we've got a face which is 0.1, so 0 in line with path. Efficiency is 1.31, but it is 26 millimeters away from the middle. That's a lot. 26 millimeters is basically not, well, there's scoring lines just, it is that toey. And it done really well. 1.31 efficiency is very good considering. Go over to the i525. Face now is 1.1 closed rather than 1.0, so that will add a little bit of efficiency. And it is 2 mil low, 27 mil toe, so it's very fractionally worse strike with the same efficiency, but it's a fraction worse strike with the same efficiency, but it has got a closed face. If you look at the loft difference between the two, there's nearly a degree, 1.3 degrees of loft difference because of that closed face. So when it comes to extreme toes, I would give it marginally to G430. So you can see there that on average, if we come away from a conclusion, I would say that if you're looking at forgiveness side of things, I would definitely say that it's close. It is very, very close. I'd marginally give it to G430, but it's an absolute just so close to make the difference between them. Looks, I'd definitely give it to i525 personally. If you're someone who likes the look of a bigger golf club with a bit more technology inspired looks, then obviously G430 is going to win. When it comes to sound, if you're looking for a duller sound, i525 is you're going to look for a bit more of an explosive pop, G430. Performance wise, like for like, remember the strikes were slightly worse when it comes to on average of the G430. I would actually give it slightly to the G430. It will slightly hit it higher, and it will also then slightly stop it a little bit steeper because of that extra peak height. Distance wise is going to be marginal. They are both very, very good. Now remember, I managed to match lofts. There is a 1.5 degree loft difference between these two, so therefore under normal situation the G430 will be longer. It's just that I managed to be able to do it in delivery, so we can try and as best keep apples to apples testing as possible. So hope you liked the video. If you did, go on YouTube, like, thumbs up. I do it, YouTube does as well. Help populates the video, and it's the algorithm, don't ask. Next to it is a subscribe button. It's a big red button. It's free. It's great for the channel. If you could do that, that will be, well, it will enable me to make more kind of content like this. Next to it is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.